Welcome back to Tiny Blue Games. My name's of course Csaw or Chris, and today we're talking about Final Fantasy XIV in 2020. Today we are talking about the Lalafells. You might have thought that today's video would be us diving deep into the Heavensward expansion, exploring all the wonder that it holds, but no. Today is a follow-up video to the video last week, and if you missed it, I'll put a little link at the top for where we did use some Fantasia and turned into a Lalafell, because I got some very interesting comments in that video, and some people were quite supportive, but some people, and they weren't not supportive necessarily, but they called me a potato. And as a new player, I was really confused about that for quite some time, but it kept coming up. For instance, let's take a look at some of these comments here. Csaw has joined the Legion of Evil Potatoes, liked by 76 people. Wait, not the potatoes, liked by 44 people. I can't believe you turned into a potato. I'll eventually do that too. When you said there was something new for you, I expected you to be a dragoon, not a potato. Ha! Well, there you go. I turned into a dragoon and a potato, so that's my little victory there. Oh no, we've lost him to the dark side. Now, it doesn't necessarily say potato here, but it's pretty heavily implied that dark side means potato. Potato side, if you will, the dark side of the potato. You know how they have those dark spots on them that you have to peel away? That's kind of what I'm envisioning here. We've lost another to the evil potatoes. Unhappy face. But I'm excited to see you progress the story. Well, a little cheery ending to that one, which is nice. You went potato? That's going to make it harder to watch. I can't take them seriously. And it went on and on and on. I even control F'd the situation. We had a total of at least 26 comments that reference potato after the first week, and this is only going to get more out of hand as things continue. So, as any good new player, I decided to do some research to figure out what I was missing. Just before that though, if you're wondering what you're watching in the background, it's just a montage of me exploring Ishgard as a Lalafell and hugging and emoting around different people. I figured it would be a nice piece of content for you people who seem to hate potatoes to watch while we're talking about this, so enjoy that. But yeah, so I turned to YouTube first because I was hoping someone made a video to tackle this subject, and I typed in, why are Lalafells called potatoes? I didn't find much. There was some references to potatoes, and there was one infomercial thing about Lalafells, which was hilarious if you haven't seen it, but nothing too crazy. So we turned to Google search and we typed in the same, and we found a nice Reddit thread about this. And I wanted to read the top 3 or 4 different sort of upvoted comments here. The first one is, I believe it was a combination of a few things overall, from their potato-like body portions, main thing, combined with jokes about growing them since we never see Lalafell children, and when we do, they're all the same size as the adults, and even deeper, a similar short race in another Final Fantasy game, Crystal Chronicles, were onion people. This one is a far stretch though, but it makes sense to use another vegetable to compare this one. But it's definitely the first reason most. So, and the first reason was, I believe, the first reason was for their potato-like body portions, which I guess makes sense. They kind of got a rounder bottom and a little round head, and if you were to line up a potato on them, they might make sense. I mean, I don't know who's cruel enough to make a video with a potato over top of a Lalafell, but if someone was cruel enough to do that, it would be interesting to see what the results were. But yeah, let's move on. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering why it sounds like my voice is coming from different angles and why I sound a bit sleepy, well, first off, I did this as soon as I woke up. I don't know, I just woke up and I was like, I know what kind of video I'm gonna make. Number 2, I'm reading a lot of these off of a little sheet because no, I'm not able to remember word for word all of these comments throughout an entire video. I'm not that good at this. But yeah, let's get into the second comment here. It says, their shape looks like a potato with legs, and I suppose that the devs themselves help propagate this joke. Like this joke item from Koji and the fans at NA Fest last year that ended up in game. And what this item is, and I was actually I went down the rabbit hole for a little bit here. It's called the Vegetarian. It's a big fish that tried to eat a King Lalafell back in the day. And now it's said that the descendants of the fish eats plainsfolk, which, looking up, means Lalafells, like they are popotos, which looks like that's the equivalent of potatoes in Final Fantasy XIV. So there's an actual fish item that is said to eat Lalafells like they are potatoes. So yes, the devs have, in some sense, confirmed and given a bit of background information to this joke. So it's a little bit hard to disprove it. And I mean, honestly, if I was to be equal to a certain vegetable, a potato is not the worst. Potatoes are pretty tasty. They come in all shapes and sizes, and they're very, you can do a lot of different things with them, right? They can be served in different ways. So it's not the worst situation. Moving on to our last point, we have one that says there's also the fact that according to many Fate descriptions, monsters all think that they're tasty. ... But mostly it's their shape. So yeah. Yeah. I guess, I don't know. There seems to be a fair bit of proof in this, which I'm gonna have to live with. And you're probably wondering, what does this change for you, Csaw? What how has your outlook on life changed after this? Well, all I'm gonna say is I'm gonna be the best potato that there ever was. I'm gonna be a trustworthy Lalafell. There's a lot of comments online about why Lalafells are untrustworthy as well, and a lot of this stems from the story, right? We saw in the last parts of the Realm Reborn, specifically, and I'll point this out again, Lalafells with facial hair might not be trustworthy. You can, of course, trust me. I would never betray you to my other fellow potatoes. We are a very welcoming bunch, and I don't know. I'm happy to be part of something. So there you go. But yeah, this was a bit of an odd video. I mean, that seems pretty obvious from the very start of this, but this was a pretty odd video, and I wanted to, in the full effort of learning everything I can as a new player about the game and helping out any future Lalafells that are confused when they're called potatoes, this video needed to be made. But yeah, there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, like it. If you didn't, if you hate the fact that I'm potato, leave a comment about why you think potatoes are evil. And we'll move on with things. I do hope next weekend to do some videos actually about Heavensward. We're done making character changes at this point. We're getting back into the actual story. We're done with her distractions, is what I'm saying. I really focused and I got into Heavensward, and then I got distracted again. And now we're going to bring it back to actually getting into the content. So don't worry about that. We'll get into that next weekend. If you haven't subscribed, do so. You don't want to miss any exciting videos like this one about potatoes. I'm going to hit that little bell thing on the side there. It really does help. But until then, guys, I will see you in the next video.